Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Um, okay, so let's see. Let me grab my notes. Do we have somebody that could fill the timer role tonight?
I could be timer.
Perfect. Thank you so much, David. I really appreciate it. Okay, so now that the agenda is complete, we'll officially start our meeting for tonight. And I want to say good evening, fellow Toastmaster members and our fellow guest, Crystal. So Crystal, I found out, is a decorated, I should say, Toastmaster, and we're happy to have her here tonight to speak. And Crystal, could you just give us a quick introduction, a little bit of background about yourself, please?
Sure. Well, good evening, everyone. I am so grateful that you all are giving me this platform to practice, because they just asked me to give this speech 2 days ago. But I am from Daphne, Alabama. I live here in Mobile. I want to come to you all's club, but I have BSF across the street at Spring Hill. I think it's Spring Hill Baptist. That's the name of it. Right across the street by the CVS. So it's at the same time that Hilltoppers normally is. But I have been a member of Toastmasters since 2012. Were afraid, which I'm going to talk about in my speech, to really participate, but I jumped right in due to having to serve an officer role. So I'm glad that I had that extra push, and now I'm trying to utilize my skills and give back to the community. So thank you for letting me practice this speech today.
Absolutely, Crystal, and thank you for the introduction, and we look forward to hearing your speech tonight. So I will talk about just a couple bits of club business really fast. So before this, guys, we had an officer meeting at 6 o'clock, and we went over a lot of different beneficial things. We talked about ways that we could, make the club a little bit more, fun in the virtual world, such as the Zoom background competition that we just hosted. And we talked about some other pathways things, or some motivation for speeches, and just kind of different ways to spice up the meetings. And so I'm going to put together those notes, and on the next meeting we have, I'll go ahead and pass that to everybody, because I don't want to just keep that in between the officers. I want to share it with, with everybody in the club too. And I'm also probably going to email that out, because I know we have members that aren't participating right now, or are on and off participating. So I'm going to send it out to everybody in hopes it'll give a little motivation to other people. PayPal. So I am guilty of this, but after this meeting, I'm going to log in and I'm going to pay my dues. And so I know Carrie wants us to pass that. So I got your back, Carrie. And so please, everybody, remember to pay your dues. And I'm going to sign in right after this and pay mine. And tonight we have one award. So you're very welcome, Carrie. We have one award, so I'm looking forward to presenting that tonight. And with that, Donovan's here. David, I think you'll be okay being timer tonight. We'll probably pass that back to Donovan if you're okay with that.
Sure. Either way is fine.
Okay. Does anybody have anything that they would like to pass to the club before I pass it to our Toastmaster? Carrie, go ahead.
Okay, again, I am your money collector again. And as Luke mentioned, please make a payment for the club membership. Again, $55, including $45 for the membership for next 6 months. That means from October through March, and $10 for a logo club fee. And so $50 in total. And I hope you still like me, even though I am so pushy money collector. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate it. Hey, Donovan, how you doing? Donovan, can you hear me? I think he's probably working on his audio. Hey, for everybody, the agenda is in the chat room, so everybody can access the agenda if needed. Okay. All right. hey, I appreciate everybody's flexibility tonight. The meeting might run over to our time limit of 8 o'clock on Zoom, but without further ado, I will pass it to our Toastmaster this evening, and that is Cheyenne.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cheyenne Gates. I'm excited to hear both of our speeches tonight. But just to tell you first, our meeting will be divided into three sections. We'll have, two sections tonight, speeches, and then the evaluation portion. So I'm going to run through and just get a brief description of each role. So could I please hear from the author?
Yes. So good evening, fellow Toastmaster members and guests. Again, so my role as the awe counter is to catch any filler words, ahs, ums, or anything like that, which I am fantastic at saying. So that is my role tonight, to just try to count these filler words. Back to you, Cheyenne.
Thank you. And could we please hear from our grammarian this evening as well?
All right, that's me again. So this is our word, and I wrote it, and I don't have nice handwriting like Majid, but it's hegemony, and I will put that in the chat. So hegemony means leadership or dominance. So used in a sentence, the definition of hegemony is leadership or dominance of one group over another. So I would like to say that Hilltoppers Toastmasters is hegemony upon other groups, but this is not a competition, so I will not say that. Back to you, Cheyenne.
All right, thank you. And can we hear from our timer this evening? Donovan, can you hear us?
Yes, that is here. So the timer is basically intervals, and so the sections down time, the tail speeches, the topic, and the evaluation portion as well. Back to you, Cheyenne.
All right, and normally would have table topics, but we are probably going to forego those this evening. So without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and jump into our first speech. We have a treat. Carrie is an awesome speaker. I always enjoy listening everything she has to tell us. And today she will be telling us, her speech will be about should schools stay online? And with that, I will hand it over to Miss Carrie.
Thank you, Toastmaster Cheyenne. Good evening, Toastmaster, members, and guest, Crystal. I'm so happy to have you, Crystal. My speech assignment tonight is a group discussion on a certain topic that I am going to give you tonight for the first 10 minutes. Then I'll make a closing speech for 2 to 3 minutes. Let's start. It's the end of August. Schools start back. In Mobile, students in private schools meet in person, and those in public schools do online. We are still in the serious coronavirus time. Do you think schools should stay online until coronavirus cases slow down some more? Please share your thoughts. This is group discussion. Please give me your opinion. Anyone, please. Luke, please.
So I think that's definitely a hard question to ask, because everybody's got different risk tolerances, especially right now, during COVID safety concerns. And there's so many different unknowns. On one side, you can have, people who are asymptomatic and be, actual carriers and spreading it. And then you have other people getting so sick. So you want to find that happy medium, but then you're also worried about the education of others. And so that I honestly don't have an answer, because you're putting a lot of people into a classroom at close spaces, and keeping the social distancing is going to be near impossible. But yet you don't want to forego the education of, young adults. And so honestly, I wish I had a better answer, but I'm like right in the middle of wanting to send these kids back, but very concerned about the spread of COVID to others who are susceptible.
Thank you. It is hard topic, and it's really hard to say yes or no. Thank you so much for your thoughts. Anybody else, please?
I don't have kids, but I do have coworkers who have children, and the easy thing to say is just keep them at home and they won't get sick. But most of my coworkers, both of the spouses work full time. So as much as they want to keep their child at home and limit their exposure, it's just not feasible for them. I think if it's feasible, that would be the ideal situation, but I definitely understand parents having to make the hard decision of, trusting that their kids will wear their masks and, wash their hands. But then at the same time, you may teach your child to do right, but someone else's child may not. So if the child gets sick, then the parent will probably get sick. And then if the parent's still going to work, coworkers will probably get sick, which is where my thoughts come in. But as Luke said, it's not a blanket answer because it's just difficult for everyone, especially if both of the spouses are employed. So I'm glad I don't have to make those decisions now. Good luck to anyone who does. So thank you.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Again, it is a hard topic. Anybody else?
I'll speak. I'll make the argument that for now, children in schools should meet strictly online. And the reason for that is, as other people have said, whenever groups are together, there will be a spread of the virus. And while most people will do okay, some people will not. And people will end up with life-threatening lung issues or even die. So the bottom line is, when schools meet back, more people will die. Now, I can see the argument that, the world has to go on. We can't live in our houses for the rest of our lives. And certainly that's true, but I think right now, with the way the cases are going, it's early to start back. And if we do start back now, we could have an even bigger wave, especially with the fall and the colder weather coming. So I am definitely, school needs to start back at some point, but my argument would be for now to hold off. And I don't have any easy answers. Like Luke said, what about, or I think Cheyenne did, when you have two working spouses, what do you do? I don't have the answers for that, but people's lives are on the line here. So that would be my argument. Thanks.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. And anybody else, please? We still have plenty time.
Hey,
Go ahead,
all right, go ahead, and I'll go after you.
All right, thank
Okay,
you.
Donovan, please.
Even though that I'm
Student.
young and I know that I don't have kids myself, I do have an understanding because I do have two nephews. And, well, one isn't, old enough for school, but I do have a nephew who is. To me, I think it's hard to see younger people to go because we know that it has to start somewhere, and we have an understanding that it could be the parents might be the host, but we also need to be aware of kids as well because sometimes they don't see that as a potential thing. I would say that it's really hard for for those parents who are working because they need the support and the instruction for the kids during the day. So I would suggest that for those parents to be able to at least have a like a place to go, well, a neutral place where they're required to wear a face mask, but also get the interactions they should have, so they can be able to do, so they won't be able to fall behind in class, but also in a way of connecting with adults at the same time. Thank you. Back to you, Kelly.
Thank you, Donovan. You are the youngest in this group and club. Are you still student?
Yes,
Go
I
to
am.
school?
I'm doing online classes
So
right now.
that's important from a student's point of view. Appreciate it. Is there
Anytime.
anybody else? Olivia, you have a child, you have a son. So I'd like to know you as a mother. I know your son is already adult, but
Okay, so yeah, my opinion is um, I guess it's not my opinion, but I mean, the facts are the facts. And I agree with David wholeheartedly that conjugation pretty much means people are going to continue to get sick and maybe even die from this infection. And then I agree so wholeheartedly with with Cheyenne, because parents have to go to work. And with kids, I mean, I'm just imagining if I had, my kids are 2 years apart. So I'm imagining back when my kids were 6 and 4, what would I have done? Now, they did have grandparents that could have been helpful, or I'm sure would have been helpful, but by and large, some tough decisions would have had to be made about, do I send my kids to school and I stop working? Or do I keep my kids home? Where are they gonna go? Do I send them to school and then risk them becoming infected? So that's a very tough decision that we would have to make as parents. And I am a spiritual person, so this is one of my prayers. I pray about this every night because I don't know what I would do. If it were me, I think I would leave my kids at home. I mean, I would not send them back to school. So with that being said, I don't know if I would have to quit my job, trying to find a second shift or different shift to work, but I just don't think I would run the risk of putting my kids in that environment. That's my answer.
thank you, Olivia. Luckily, your children old enough, not going to school anymore. That's good for you.
Yeah, well, they're in
Anybody else?
college, but neither one of them are in school this semester. And yeah, they are adults, thank God.
Thank you, Olivia. Appreciate it. And Crystal, do you have any idea? I think you're teacher.
No, I'm a nurse practitioner. So on the health side, I am like David. I would prefer that they not congregate to stop the spread of the virus, but I understand that a lot of people are not going to agree with that. So we can do what Baldwin County school system is. They're giving people a choice. You can either allow your children to go to physical school, or you can allow them to do the virtual route. That allows the power to be in the parents' hands. So as far as reaching a consensus, that may be the best option for Mobile County as well, so that you can please both types of parents, both opinions.
Thank you, Crystal. Appreciate it. It's
Hey,
really
I just
interesting
like,
point of view. That's good. And yes, Magic, please.
yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to mention, though I don't agree with my thought that I'm going to share, just for the sake of argument, to balance the both sides. I think that the kids have to go into school. They have to attend face to face, because it's not just education, but it's a lot of values that they learn every day. Not my 6 years old won't. It's not just the education that they get on Zoom, but it's a whole system of behavior and schedule that they learn from school. And we are in such a era of innovation. Is just a group of thinkers, or parents like you and us, have to get together and find some innovative way between Zoom and face to face. Maybe split them in the batches, or maybe go outdoor class, or maybe there are multiple ways we could still um, gather a smaller group and still be safe, and then able to handle uh, more than education. Just Zoom is just a education front, but the moral front and the behavior and the schedule front would be completely lost. So this year, the student may lose a whole academic year. It's not just the education, weakness in education, but also a behavior or a pattern of life or a schedule. So this is my thought. I know I'm running against myself or against the group, but this is my thought. Back to you, Kauri.
Thank you, Majid. As your father, it's really good. I like to. It's good to know your father's opinion. Appreciate it. Anybody thought? Anybody has any idea? Maurice, you can raise. The question is, do you think school should stay online until coronavirus cases slow down some more? Do you agree or not? Or your thoughts, please?
Well, let me see. I don't know what angle to take because I mean I do agree with what most of the people say on it, that it should stay online for at least a while. But as a true red-blooded American, these kids should just go out and and get those immune systems running. You know, train that immune system.
Sorry, fulfill it.
No, but yeah, like I said before, I do agree that they should do online, or at least, you know, maybe a percentage can go back to school physically, you know, where they're spaced out, you know, with proper social distancing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like at a rate of what, maybe 20%, or no more than 30% of the student body to go back to school physically.
It's a good point of view. It's an interesting point of view because so that not the in the U.S. usually 20 students per class, probably 15 to 20, relatively small compared to Japan, because Japan, when I was kid, 45 students in the one small class, but even 20 students, but let's say 10%, like Maurice said, you can keep a small group of students. And then sounds like we have 3 points so far. Like Crystal said, we have a choices. In the US, usually black and white, 0 or 100%, yes or no, that's the culture. But it's great to have choices. Maurice said one of the choice, and a lot of, like Crystal said, parents' choice, children's choice. And so Maurice said one small group children, 5%, 10% of the class. So that means about 5 students per class or something like that. So it's good to have a choice. That's probably we could reach the agreement. And that's so let me move on to my closing statement tonight. And then thank you very much for sharing your ideas. First of all, it seems that, as I said, it's good to have a choices based on the student's choice, parents' choice, or on school should take only small percentage of students, 5%, 10%, something like that. And then also another point, interesting point I found out is this is infection. That's the one of the big problem in the coronavirus. It's a virus. So it's very passed on next another person. So we have to know the whole cycle, what's going on, what is the virus. Children should know, so that children should need to learn where should wear the mask all the time or social distance, especially small children, elementary school or even middle school. You know, how the proper way to socialize with people. And those more learning, education about this coronavirus is an important key. That's what I found tonight. And we basically, I believe, reached the consensus. That's the point of this assignment. Thank you so much. And then before we close in this discussion, I'd like to share why I chose this topic. And there is a private school only 1 block away from my house. This morning, I saw a group of small children playing outside, very close to each other, sometimes touching, and no mask. Usually, it would be beautiful to see children playing outside. If it were not the coronavirus time, I felt so complicated when I saw them this morning. I profoundly hope they're okay. And again, thank you very much for your cooperation. This is the last assignment of level 3. Therefore, I have completed the level 3 of my path. Yay! Back to Toastmaster Cheyenne.
Thank you, Carrie. That was really interesting. I think that was the first group discussion speech we've had. And I don't know what the prompt is, but I liked how you were facilitating conversation and also just keeping it going and making sure that everyone was getting a chance to be involved. So thank you so much. And I really enjoyed that. And we also have another guest speaker tonight. Her name is Crystal Lockett. And welcome to our club. And we are so glad to have you. And we're looking forward to hearing your speech. And it is called Moving Forward for Success. So everyone, please welcome Crystal.
Good evening, Foley. Hi, I am so honored to be with you all today. My name is Crystal Lockett. I am with Purevine Healthcare and the Purevine Foundation. I want to first and foremost say that I was present at last Friday's game, and I am so proud of you all for pressing through to the end. But I'm sure you all can agree that you want to win on Friday. So how are we going to do that? How are you going to do that? Today, I'm going to discuss 3 things you can start doing tonight to not only allow you to move forward to win on Friday, but also in this game called life. I want to first and foremost thank Coach Scott for allowing me to speak to you all today. All of the coaches that are pressing forward, helping you all be the best players and men that you can be. And a special thanks to my fiance, avid Foley High varsity football fan and alum, Frederick Wilson. Now, Frederick loves you all so much, and one of your biggest supporters, I would say, along with myself. And one of his other qualities is that he plans the best dates. In fact, we were at a date at Loader Bear Garden in downtown Mobile, eating some fabulous burgers and watching the NBA game, LA Lakers versus Toronto. Now, I'm sure you all can agree if you watch any of these games, this is definitely different than what we're used to. There are no fans in the stand. In fact, the fans are virtually like everything else in our world right now. You can also see the fans just high-fiving each other, having the time of their life despite this unprecedented way of celebrating and watching an NBA game. Now, the players are all grouped together in this special place called the bubble. I don't really know a lot of details about the bubble other than once you come in, you have to be safe and you can't go out of the bubble. They have to work out there. They have to exercise and they have to eat the food that's provided to them. Now, some of the players got in trouble recently because they made some posts on social media complaining about the food. Now, I was looking at some of these pictures thinking to myself, I would eat that. I would eat that baked chicken, that steak, that asparagus. All it probably needs is just a little hot sauce because you know hot sauce makes everything a little bit better. But then I was thinking to myself, okay, I can understand why there's some negative feedback. Because you have to realize some of these players came from some very difficult communities. The people back in their hometown were struggling while they are at the happiest place on earth, Disney World, playing the sport they love, eating food that's already prepared for them, and making millions of dollars. And I thought to myself, wait a minute. What happened to the attitude of gratitude? Boys, you all have the opportunity to play high school football. If you've talked to any professional player, they say that's one of the greatest opportunities, one of the most memorable experiences was high school and college football. Don't take anything for granted. Not a single burpee, not a single practice, not a single constructive criticism given by your coaches. Have that attitude of gratitude. They say the most successful people are those that show gratitude every day. By doing this, showing gratitude, you can move forward for success on Friday as well as in this game called life. Now, some of you are seniors, so this is your last season. Soak it up. Soak it up. Now, if I could tell all of my seniors that are graduating high school or college one thing, and that is take a gap year. I know that's strange. You may not know what a gap year is, but I'll tell you what it is. It is when you take a break from going straight into your career or going straight to college. So when I finished nursing school, instead of going straight into my RN career working at a hospital, I decided I was going to live in Costa Rica for 3 months. I traveled all throughout the country of Costa Rica. I went up north to Tamarindo. I went down south to Montezuma. And then I went to the beautiful cloud forest of Monteverde. Now, Monteverde, like I said, is known for having this cloud forest that is so beautiful. But it's what it's also known for is the longest zip line in Latin America. So my friends and I, being the adventurers that we are, decided we are going to climb up to the top of that mountain and glide along the canopy of Monteverde's cloud forest. So we got to the top of that mountain. I watched the tour guide snap my helmet, my yellow helmet on this big head of mine. I saw him secure this harness tightly around my body as I prepared to get on the zip line. I stood there and I started noticing something. There was this little steel cable and this pulley that was supposed to hold up my body while I glide hundreds of feet above the air. So you could just imagine what I was thinking while I was standing there. I'm not going to do this. I don't care that I look like a chicken. I don't care how much it costs. Get me off of this mountain. All of a sudden, fear just creeped right in. It was about to steal this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to glide along the canopy of the cloud forest of Monte Verde. Foley varsity, such is the case of fear in all of us. Fear comes to steal, kill, and destroy. It is your opponent. He's coming to take your win. You have to remind yourself of all the times that you've conquered your fear. For me, I had a walk down memory lane in an instant and reminded myself of all the different things that I've accomplished because I took action and conquered my fears. The fact that I am speaking to you right now is a miracle because one of the biggest fears in the entire world is public speaking. I had a fear of public speaking because I was afraid I was going to make a mistake. I thought I was going to sound stupid, so I didn't try. Someone told me about this organization called Toastmasters back in 2005 and 2006, and I waited and I waited, and I didn't join to 2012. But once I took action, I started conquering my fear. I kept speaking more and more and more, and I'm able to stand in front of you right now. They have Toastmasters for youth that are your age where you can learn to do the same thing. Some of you want to be professional players, and you know they have the legends as broadcasters, the legends that go to do TED Talks. You have to learn this skill, and you can learn it by becoming a member of a youth leadership program through Toastmasters. I conquered my fear of public speaking. I conquered my fear of speaking Spanish. I conquered my fear of traveling because I took action. So fast forward to that mountain, I had to make a choice. And I'm so glad I did because I got on that zip line and it was the most exhilarating experience. Action conquers fear. Now, some of you, there is Thanksgiving coming up, so you may be a little fearful about going to some of our family members' homes, which I can understand. Every family is a little dysfunctional, but no family is as dysfunctional as that of Oedipus Rex. Now, if you haven't studied this yet, you're going to study it later in high school and in college. Oedipus Rex is a character from an ancient Greek play. He had this horrible prophecy over his life that he would kill his father and marry his mother. So his parents, in an effort to escape fate, ordered their servant to bound up their baby's feet and leave him out in the wilderness to die. But Oedipus didn't die. The servant took him to another king and queen in Corinth who raised him as his own. Oedipus grew up all his life thinking those individuals were his biological parents. So when one night someone told him of this horrible prophecy, he left. He didn't go to his parents and talk to them about it. He went on a journey. He met a man at a crossroad, and due to his temper, killed that man. Went further on and was able to solve this mysterious riddle that no one else could solve. He inherited a kingdom, and they brought him a beautiful woman who he had 4 children with because of his intelligence in solving that riddle. He lived happily ever after for a while, because suddenly there was a plague over that kingdom because the murderer of that former king remained unpunished. Through a series of events, Oedipus discovered that it was him that murdered that stranger at a crossroad who happened to be his father, and that beautiful woman who he married happened to be his mother, who he had 4 children with, fulfilling his own prophecy. Every time I hear this story, I think to myself, gosh, if only Oedipus could have communicated to his parents, if only Oedipus would have known who he was, if only Oedipus would have obtained the knowledge he needs to gain the power to change his own destiny. He didn't have to listen to the negative words that someone spoke over his life. He had the power to make a change. You have the power to make a change. If you have not studied that film from last Friday and realized your mistakes, you are fulfilling a possible negative prophecy over you. There are people that don't believe in you, but there are people in this room that do. You have to first obtain the knowledge you need to move forward, to win on Friday and in this game of life. So Foley Varsity, I have never played football. I've been a cheerleader and I was on the dance team. So I've been on the field with you, but not in the game. But I have been in this game called life. Have an attitude of gratitude. Conquer your fears with action and know yourself. By doing these things, you will be able to move forward for success on Friday and in this game called life. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Crystal. That was a great speech. The kids are going, oh, wow, I loved it. I feel like you were speaking to us too, even though we're not high school age. It was still really applicable to me as well. So thank you for sharing, and thank you for being our guest again. So now we will move on. We do not have time for table topics, unfortunately, so we will go straight into our evaluations. So I will pass it to the general evaluator, which is going to be Kyler tonight.
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. My name is Kyler Gates, and I'll be the general evaluator for this evening. I'm going to first call up my team, and then after that, I'll give some of my thoughts on the overall meeting itself. So I'm going to start with, let's see. I'm going to start with our first evaluator, Majid, who will be evaluating Carrie's speech.
Hello, everyone. This is Majid. I am going to evaluate speech number 1. The topic was the schools should we go online or should it be face-to-face? This was more like everyone's opinion, and it was hosted by Kauri. So I think overall the speech that she gave as the initial was very nice. She was able to introduce and lay the floor for everyone's thought. And towards the end, when she closed by taking the majority opinion, or it was obvious that the blended culture of school was more dominant in the speeches that everyone had. So overall, I think it was very well organized with respect to entertaining everyone's thought. She was able to maintain and work well with the group, respect all ideas, especially some weird ideas from me and about immune system booster that we had. So it was good that she was able to go through that two ideas as well. I think your invitation, maybe by name, also encouraged everyone to have their say in it. So you could, it was like mentioning individual by name, or like when I was not speaking, you called out and towards the end when somebody didn't give in their opinion, you kind of encouraged them. So that was also a good call out. You excelled in it in that part. What I noted as maybe an opportunity or a work on would be once an opinion has been issued, like once somebody speaks, maybe you can relate a little bit of your thought with that opinion. Or what are your thoughts on, like if an opinion was online schooling, then you can say, okay, yeah, online speaking, Olivia said this, and then yeah, it's kind of echoes what other opinions are. A little bit of a floor towards the end to make the one who spoke, make him that his thoughts were entertained, or it was grasped very well. So this could be another formula to keep the group engaged and realize that their thoughts were being addressed or addressed by you as a host. So I think that's the overall idea that I had. I know it's was a little unique evaluation. If I have made some notes, but I'll fill up the form, and if I have any more thoughts, I'll write it down for as an evaluation form. Back to you, General Evaluator Kyler.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Majid.
Majid. That was a great evaluation, and I too, I really enjoyed the discussion style, and you know, it was great that you know, Maurice and Majid offered some different opinions that I've heard before, but have not heard them here in this group. So it was good to hear some different opinions, just to offer a little discussion. So next we'll move on to our next evaluator, which would be Luke Green. He'll be evaluating Ms. Crystal's speech. Thank you, Luke.
All right, good evening, fellow Toastmaster members and our honored guest, Crystal. So didn't have too long to get my evaluation together, so I hope this comes out nice and clear. Crystal, I really enjoyed your speech. Really excited that you reached out to us, because I am definitely one who had a fear of public speaking, and to hear people talk about their fears and put them out there, and you know, and not hinder them or be embarrassed about them, I think it's really motivating for others. You know, to see someone who is genuine like you, who got up there, spoke with sincerity, and I thought it was a great message overall. So going down your evaluation form for excelled at, I put you excelled at vocal variety. To be honest, Crystal, I think you're the first person in our meetings, and I'm going to take this as we move forward, but I loved how you got up, you know, and you got up and you stood up and you spoke to us, and you moved around, and I could see the hand gestures and everything like that. I know I haven't been doing that. I'm more stay behind here, talk to the camera, but I loved how you moved around. So your vocal variety was great. Your hand movements were great. Like I mentioned a minute ago, I felt it was really sincere, genuine speech. You made it personal in numerous ways. You made it personal by talking about your fiance, you know, and that link to Foley High School. And you guys are big fans, and you're actually there watching them and really rooting them on. And that really means a lot. You talked about kind of like the pros and how, you know, looking back on your high school years and college years are some of the best times. And I find that completely true, because if you think about it, when I was younger, all I wanted to be was older. And now that I'm older, I wish that I could go back and be young again. I wish I could go back and enjoy my high school more and enjoy the college years and just not want to grow up so fast. So I think that was a very realistic and true statement that I definitely connected with. I loved how it was an overall speech about gratitude and changing your mindset, gaining the knowledge, taking action, and moving forward. I think a lot of times people will have motivations and they don't act on them. And I'm guilty of it myself. I'm still in school. I should have had that motivation to do it quicker. And there's some things that I would definitely change if I would have just taken some action. So I definitely liked that you brought that up. You also made it personal with sharing with us about your fear of public speaking. And it's great because you're literally out public speaking to these, you know, young adults, this football team, and showing how good you are. And Crystal, you are very good. You're very natural up there. You're very fluent. You speak very well, very clear. You're articulate. And so I think they're going to see somebody, you know, who says that they had a fear of public speaking and see where you're at now. And I find it highly impressive. And just conquering your fears with action. That's one of the last notes I wrote down. I like that. I like taking action. Sometimes we can be complacent in life in a number of different areas. And so I thought that was a great message to work on. And I just had two things. I know in the speech and tonight, you're confined to our camera view. Just one suggestion, which you're probably going to do, would be to really walk around the group, because you're going to have, are you going to be doing this in person, or are you going to be doing this over the internet?
In person on Wednesday.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
As long as the storms
I
don't switch over.
Yeah. Hopefully that thing keeps pushing west, and you definitely get to do your speech. So I would just suggest, and I know we're confined to our video view here, but, you know, definitely walk around, really engage, you know, look to your left, really walk over to your right and come back to the center, which I'm sure you're going to do because you had great movement up here, but we're just confined to a camera. And also too, I noticed that sometimes the camera was kind of cutting like about from the forehead off. And so sometimes, you know, I was seeing like we were seeing like your eyes down. It wasn't like that all the time, but it was like that for, I would say, a quarter to maybe about half. But that's, you know, one of the things with the virtual world that we're kind of stuck in right now. But those are the only two things I really had to work on. I didn't have anything to challenge yourself, Crystal. I thought it was a great speech. So for clarity, I gave you a 5. Very articulate, very clear. Your stories were in progression. You knew exactly what you were talking about. They were concise. They ended. They started, and you knew exactly what you were saying. Vocal variety was excellent. Eye contact. I don't think you ever took your eyes off the camera or us. So that was great. Tons of hand gestures, which I'm horrible at. So I thought that was really good. Very interesting topic. If I could have gave you a higher than a 5, I would. So I gave you a 5. Engagement. I think we were all engaged. I'm the all counter and grammarian, but I quit listening to filler words. I don't think you had any, but I was really interested in what you were saying, and it definitely had my attention. And the topic was great because you had multiple topics, and they were all positive and they were motivating. And overall, I felt you did great. So I was glad to hear you speak. I think we all were, and I was glad to evaluate you. I will fill out your evaluation form, and I can send it to you if you would like.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much. I
Thanks, Crystal.
appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Back to you, Kyler.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that that evaluation. And again, thank you, Crystal, for the speech. It was very encouraging. And I think you're going to do great when the time comes to give it to Foley High School. So we're going to move on to the timers report. Donovan, what do you have for the timers report for us this evening?
Okay, so I just want to say that both were great speeches. I do well not understand that I know how it feels to go through those experiences in high school by being a part of the football team and basketball team as well. And a great experience. Thank you, Crystal. It was a very inspiring speech. So Carrie's speech is 17 minutes and 22 seconds. And Carrie, you did a good job. That was a very interesting way of doing a speech. Crystal, I know this is your first time that I timed you, so I would have to say that you have 10 minutes and 25 seconds, but overall you did great. Thank you. Back to you, Carmen.
Thank you, Donovan. I appreciate that. Next, we're going to move on to our awe counter, which I think was originally Olivia, but it might be Luke now. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. So for the all counter report, Carrie, I did not count any filler words, but I'm probably the worst all counter in the world because I tend to pay attention too much to where I'm not really listening for the filler words, and I say a lot of them myself. So I did not catch any. David, I didn't catch any. Olivia, none. Donovan, I caught 2 ums. Majid, I caught 4 ums and 2 uhs. Crystal, I did not catch any. Maurice, I did not catch any. Kyler, I've caught 2 uhs, and myself, I'm at least 4 or 5 right now because I've caught myself numerous times. And back to you, Kyler.
Sorry, I apologize. I forget that I was muted. All righty. So, all right. So I guess that comes down to my general evaluator report. Overall, I think the meeting went great. One of my initial concerns was that we would have to skip table topics because I like table topics a lot and it gives everyone a chance to speak. However, Carrie's speech kind of, filled in that need for table topics. We all got a chance to talk and discuss something kind of on the fly, kind of present our point, present our arguments, and try to convince people why they should, see things our way. And I think that offers something that is different from what table topics offers because there's a little more importance, when you have to convince someone like, hey, this is a public health issue. So that there's a little more, whereas table topics can be kind of like, lighthearted and on the fly, you're in the elevator. This is something that's like, okay, this is important. This has to do with all of our health. Let's talk about this. So I think that filled an important need in the meeting. I think that the only thing that I would complain about for the meeting is we actually forgot to do the pledge. Olivia noticed. That would be my only concern. Everything else I think went really well. Really enjoyed Crystal's speech. It was very encouraging. Even though I'm someone that I'm not really a sports guy. People kind of give me a hard time about it. But I was still encouraged. I still connected to all those. All the examples that you used into the overall meaning of the message. And I like that you made a reference to, an old Greek myth and things like that. That's the stuff that gets my attention. So overall, I really enjoyed your speech, and I thank you for meeting with us tonight, for being with us tonight. And with that, I will conclude my grammarian report. I mean, my general evaluator report. That's another issue I have, not remembering my role.
All right, thank you. All right, and for our next part, Donovan, do you still have your education overview for us?
I can whip up something real quick. I can do it as a
Well, if you don't have something, it's okay. It's very close to time.
yeah.
Okay, no problem. All right, and we do have another few minutes left to our meeting, so I will pass it back to our president, Luke.
All right, everybody. So in closing here, I want to go ahead and present an award. And so I would like to present an award to our Vice President of Education, David Roberts. And this is for achieving his level 4 of dynamic leadership. I hope everybody can see that. So congratulations, David.
Awesome job, David.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I also want to congratulate Carrie tonight. She completed her level 3 with this speech. And so we will officially present her award, her certificate next meeting. But I do want to give her a round of applause for completing her level 3 tonight. And last on the list, before we close it out, I just wanted to say that Crystal, it was great to have you, and we're really happy to help you prepare for your speech. And to be is a great place to practice, and we're definitely glad that you came to our club, and you're welcome anytime. We would like you to come back as a guest whenever you would like, but better yet, a member. So just keep that in mind. But we wish you the best of luck on Wednesday. And if you did what you did tonight, ma'am, you're going to do great. So we really enjoyed it, and we enjoyed having you. And I think I can speak for everybody when I say that. So
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Everybody.
So I think absolutely. So I think we had another great meeting. I know we had another great meeting. And does anybody have anything in closing that they would like to pass before we wrap it up?
I would just like to also thank Crystal for coming and giving your speech. I thought it was inspiring, especially the speaking about fear, because I've dealt with a lot of fear in my life. And I'm 56 years old, and I've missed out on a lot of things because of that fear. But I'm doing a lot better now. And also living in the moment, because I'm always thinking about what's next in my life. And when I do that, I miss out on what's now. And so that was really great. You talked about, you enjoy being in high school and college. So I just wanted to thank you for coming and speaking, and everybody for being here. I think we're a really good, supportive group, and we're making the best of meeting online now, and it's coming along. So thank you.
Yeah, y'all are very supportive. I like I said, I have Bible study at Spring Hill. It's not my church. It's called Bible Study Fellowship. So I've been trying to come to y'all's meeting, but at least virtually now I could probably drop in before we start.
Absolutely. Well, we'd love to have you whenever you can stop by, Crystal. So
Yes.
All right. Thanks, David, for saying that. And everybody, I look forward to the next meeting. Crystal, I will get with you through email. Carrie, you got something?
Just a moment. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Share your thought. I really appreciate to make my level 3 successful. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Carrie. Let's see, Crystal, I will reach out with your evaluation, and I'll send it to you via email, and I'll type it up or write it up a little better. So with that, everybody, we are 7:48, so we're only 3 minutes late, and that is great. So to be mindful of everybody's time, everybody have a great week, and we look forward to seeing everybody on next Monday. So you guys have a good night. We'll see you